Good evening from wherever you're watching us tonight. It is the 15th day of August 2023. A very warm welcome to KTV Primetime News. So much has happened in the country, including the country is celebrating 10 years of devolution today. Of course, devolution has brought a lot of advantages with it, including equitable distribution of national resources. Of course, from exclusion to inclusion, we now have inclusion in politics and a platform for economic and social development. And also remember, today marks 1 year since the country voted for President William Ruto as the 5th president of Kenya. We have that story and so much more after the headlines. Delegates converge in Eldoret for devolution conference as Kenya marks 10 years since the inception of devolution. EPRA denies fuel subsidy claims, says it is a stabilization to cushion taxpayers from petroleum price rise. Azimio leader Raila Odinga accused Kenya Kwanza of sending a weak dialogue team in the bipartisan talks amid stalemate on the agenda of the renewed talks. And government deploys police to protect coffee factories, says DP Gachagua as it reopens Nairobi coffee auction. Welcome to the broadcast. Evan Sodhiambo is our sign language interpreter tonight. My name is ODIDA, and we're live on our social media platforms at KTV_Kenya. That is on Twitter and YouTube. We begin. President William Ruto today attended the funeral service of the late David Chepkwony, the husband to Njoro Member of Parliament Charity Kadhambi in Kimugul, Nakuru County. Ruto has described Chepkwony as a hard-working, friendly and focused man who was driven by a genuine concern for the community. Dorothy Musyoka with this report.
Led by President William Ruto and his deputy Rigathi Gachagua, leaders drawn from the national government, county government and the legislature flooded Kimugul Primary School grounds for the funeral service of the late David Chepkwony, who is the husband to Njoro Area Member of Parliament Charity Kadhambi.
Niaba yangu, familia yangu na viongozi wote wa taifa letu la Kenya, nilete rambirambi zetu kwa Mheshimiwa Charity Kadhambi Chepkwony na familia yako.
President Ruto cited that forest products will be used appropriately, hence shunning of importing furniture as one way of environment conservation. The president cautioned residents against cutting down of trees in Nakuru.
Tukisema ya kwamba tutaendelea na kuharvest products ya misitu, haimaanishi ya kwamba ati misitu itakuwa inakatwa kiholela. Hiyo haiwezi kufanyika. So kama kuna mtu alikuwa anafikiri sasa iko license ya kwenda kukata miti left, right and center, utakutana na sisi.
Ile ya miti mimi nadhibitisha, nilikuja hapa Njoro, Egerton wakatupatia ekari 5 na Mheshimiwa Charity akatupeleka pale na akakusanya community na tukapanda miti kwa hizo ekari 5 hapa Njoro.
The president has yet again called upon farmers to take advantage of the subsidized fertilizers in order to increase food production.
Wakati wengine wanafanya maandamano na kubeba sufuria kwa kichwa, nyinyi mlirudi shambani mkatumia mbolea, sasa tunaona chakula iko tayari. Mimi nataka niwahakikishie, tutahakikisha ya kwamba chakula mliozalisha mnapata bei ya sawasawa na vile vile mtatusaidia kulisha Wakenya wengine.
President Ruto has highlighted that the government will put up a county aggregation park which will aid in value addition to the farmers' produce, adding that the government has obtained 5,000 acres of land which will be instrumental in development projects that are aimed at realizing the government's goal of creating employment to the youth.
Nimetafuta ekari zingine 5,000 na sayari saizi tuko na makubaliano mahali tutaweka hiyo special economic zone. Hapa ndio tutatengenezea mambo mengi ya leather, ya textile, ya e-mobility, ndio tutaweka hapa Naivasha kwa sababu tunataka kutumia ile green energy inatoka hapa ya geothermal, na hiyo ingine ndio tuweze kusukuma mazao yetu katika soko ya kitaifa na soko ya kimataifa.
President Ruto is set to address different stakeholders tomorrow at the devolution conference, which is being held in Eldoret, Uasin Gishu County. Dorothy Musyoka, KU TV.
Now, 2023 marks 10 years since the inception of devolution in Kenya, and as one would have it, devolution has made a difference in various sectors across the 47 counties in agriculture, health, infrastructure, as well as in governance. As the country celebrates a decade of devolution, Ruth Wanjiru breaks down for us the changes and challenges that have been encountered in this democratic journey. Take a look.
One of the main pillars of the 2010 constitution was devolution, which drafters believed would be the turning point for the prosperity of the nation. Devolution gave birth to a two-tier government, the national and county government, with the aim of distributing power and resources from the center. In 2013, the first batch of governors was sworn in, marking the beginning of the devolution journey. A decade later, counties have developed in various sectors that has boosted the nation's economic and social growth. For example, in health, devolution has seen counties increase their health allocation to 30% of their budget. Infant mortality rate has declined from 39% to 32% per 1,000 infants. Skilled deliveries have increased by 89%, and hospital deliveries have increased by 82%. Agriculture has also grown, with the sector accounting for about 21.2% of the overall gross domestic production, even during the prolonged drought. This has been as a result of county governments investing in farm inputs, seeds, and farmer services. To improve connectivity and trade in the country, devolution has also seen to the development of infrastructure. Roads interconnecting counties have been built, markets and storage areas, among others. However, despite the challenges and development that devolution has brought, various challenges have also been encountered along the way. One of the main challenges has been human resources gaps, where different governors have been on the spotlight for hiring allies and family members rather than professionals. Mismanagement of funds has also been another key challenge, where governments have been in the spotlight for misappropriating funds and lacking accountability. As the Council of Governors hold the devolution conference this year in Uasin Gishu, this is a chance to evaluate the milestones achieved, mistakes made, and lessons learned in the last decade, as well as what needs to be improved to make devolution better. Ruth Wanjiru, for KU TV.
All right, fuel prices are set to remain unchanged from today as the Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority (EPRA) retains maximum pump prices for the August 15 to September 14 cycle. The hold in fuel prices is largely attributed to the retention of subsidies on diesel and kerosene, which have served to offset price increments in the cost of the commodities after higher landed costs. Kenyans in Nairobi have, however, raised their concern on the stabilization, as Mercy Wanjiru reports.
The price of fuel remained unchanged until September 14 after the government reintroduced the fuel subsidy to stabilize pump prices, with petrol retailing at 194 shillings, diesel going at 179 shillings, and kerosene costing 169 shillings. According to EPRA, the prices of petrol have risen to 202 shillings a litre, diesel to 183 shillings a litre, and kerosene have increased to 175 shillings a litre in Nairobi. But instead, the prices will remain unchanged at 194 shillings for petrol, 179 shillings for diesel, and 169 for kerosene. However, different reactions have emerged among Kenyans, some feeling the burden on their waist is still heavy and should have been reduced. According to Edwin, who is a pump attender, the decision by the government to retain fuel prices and leave to Kenyans who would have been forced to dig deeper into their pockets had prices risen, especially following the value-added tax increment from 8% to 16%.
Mimi ukiangalia pale nimekuja mafuta ya so moja. Nimekuja mafuta ya so moja na niko na delivery ya Ngara hapa, nyingine ya Westland, nyingine ya kwenda South Sea. Hiyo mafuta ni ya so moja. Na mimi ni mtu niko na familia. Serikali kama Mheshimiwa Ruto atasikia mwananchi wa chini. Angalau hata wapunguze mafuta. Ndio sisi kama watu wa bodaboda at least ukifanya kazi ya delivery hii, ukirudi kwa nyumba jioni at least uko na kitu kidogo.
So tungeomba serikali, na ni kuomba tunaomba kwa sababu mzigo umekuwa mzito, wangetupunguzia mafuta kidogo.
In Nairobi, a liter supermetro will continue retailing at 194 shillings, diesel at 179, while kerosene will go for 169 shillings, while in Mombasa, motorists will continue paying 191 shillings for a liter of super petrol, 176 for diesel, and 166 for kerosene.
Ni vizuri serikali imepunguza, imefanya introduce subsidies kwa mafuta, sababu watu wengi wamekuwa kilia, na ingepanda I think ingekuwa mbaya zaidi kwa makastoma wetu. Tunaona, tunashukuru serikali kwa kufanya hivyo, na ingewezekana hata hivyo wangeipunguza kidogo.
According to EPRA, the oil marketers will be compensated for the difference from the Petroleum Development Fund at the rate of 7 shillings per super petrol, 3 shillings for diesel, and 5 shillings for kerosene.
The price of fuel that was set to increase by 16% in accordance with the Finance Act bill has remained in the same point due to the introduction by the government of the fuel subsidy that's supposed to take effect today. Although most Kenyans feel it's not yet a relief for them. Masiwanjiro, KUTV.
Thank you, Mercy, for that report. Now, the buck stops with the 8-member technical team drawn from both Azimio la Umoja, One Kenya Coalition, and Kenya Kwanza Alliance to fast-track the process of setting agenda for the bipartisan talks that are set to resume on 21st August. The technical team is expected to review both Azimio and Kenya Kwanza proposals before drafting the common agenda that will lay a roadmap of the bipartisan talks.
All eyes will be on the 8-member technical team that was formally co-opted into the committee and tasked with the role of reviewing the issues raised by both parties to set the tempo for the dialogue between the two disgruntled factions. The technical committee is set to hold a series of meetings to address preliminary issues that will set the stage for the talks before the two teams led by Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka and the National Assembly Majority leader Kimani Ichung'wah meet on the 21st of August next week for the resumption of talks. Among the issues expected for review by the technical committee is the 5-point agenda of the talks presented by Kenya Kwanza side, which include the reconstitution of IEBC, implementation of 2/3 gender rule, the entrenchment of the Constituency Development Fund into the Constitution, creation of the Office of the Position Leader, and entrenchment of the Office of the Prime Cabinet Secretary into the Constitution. Azimio on its part want the issue of high cost of living to be agenda on the table, an audit of the 2022 presidential election results, an end to interference with political parties, and inclusivity in national affairs. However, Kenya Kwanza Alliance, led by National Assembly Majority Leader Kimani Ichung'wah, has been on the record vehemently opposing the inclusion of high cost of living in the talks, casting doubts on whether the 8-member team will come to a consensus as clock ticks to pave way for the discussions.
Wakileta zingine tutawasikiza kwa heshima, lakini mambo ya cost of living, Mheshimiwa Rais, hiyo umewaambia na tunawaambia ndio kazi wananchi wa Kenya walikuajiri uwafanyie, na hiyo kazi ndio umefanya ya kuteremsha mbolea ili unga ipatikane, unga ya bei ya chini.
Another bone of contention is the timeline of the talks and prioritization of the agenda item amid 30 days ultimatum issued by Azimio. What remains to be seen is how the technical committee will include views of all civil society groups, diplomatic corps and religious leaders who want to be included in the talks. Auma Evans for KUTV, Nairobi.
Azimio la Umoja took their series of funeral rites to Emali, Makueni County for the burial of Brian Mwendo, an 18-year-old who was gunned down during the recent anti-government protests. Azimio's top brass was in attendance, including opposition leader Raila Odinga, who led the condemnation on excessive use of police force on demonstrators and on the government's display of remorselessness after the many deaths of protesters. Listen.
Somber hymns and rituals set the mood in Emali, Makueni County as villagers and politicians alike rendered their last respects for a victim of police brutality during the anti-government protests. Brian Mwendo was walking home on the fateful day, unaware of the chaotic protests that swept Emali town along the Nairobi-Mombasa highway, and was gunned down right next to his mother's house, leaving a trail of sorrow behind in his home.
Kamau wa Raila huyu anaenda kutuma 10,000.
Brian is one of the 72 victims quoted by Azimio as felled by the police, and the leaders of the coalition paid homage to the family and friends, directing attacks to state police for brutality unleashed on demonstrators.
Munajua iliyofanyika hapa Emali maandamano. Ndio sababu tumekuja. Kwanza tuseme pole kwa sababu polisi walikuja hapa wakaua kijana yetu na bunduki, wakaumiza watu wetu, hata wakaendelea wakashika spika Mbilu akamweka jela. Tukamwea pole.
Niambia Wakikuyu washerehekee wakati wenzao Wakamba, Wambaluya na wengineo Wajaluo wanalia. Huo ni mnafiki. Na hivyo ndivyo tunaambiwa sasa. Gachagua anatembea Central Kenya akijipiga kifua, Brian amekufa. Naibu wa rais.
Azimio leader Raila Odinga led the condemnation against police brutality, expressing disarray with the recent display of remorselessness by the government after the deaths of multitudes in the hands of the police.
Alafu mkubwa wake anasema polisi wamefanya kazi mzuri. Polisi wamefanya kazi mzuri, tumewanyorosha tuwakalia ngumu. Huyu ni mtu ambaye anajiita rais wa taifa la Kenya. Anashangilia kwamba amenyorosha wananchi, amepiga risasi na wameua wa Kenya. Je, hiyo ni serikali ya taifa kweli? Hiyo ni serikali ya wananchi?
Raila exuded confidence in the Azimio dialogue team and said he will accept any resolutions considered by the two parties, but is also willing to go to any lengths if Kenya Kwanza do not cede ground.
Wataongea, si wataongea? Ukikubaliana sawa sawa. Usipokubaliana, tuko na wao. Si tuko na wao.
Azimio la Umoja tour to Kalonzo Musyoka's backyard also served as a homecoming after he was appointed to lead the Azimio Dialogue Brigade, receiving blessings from the community to hold high the interests of the people. Muneneweru, KU TV.
All right, 20 minutes past the top of the hour. We are taking a very fast short break at this point. Of course, so much more lined up for you. Stay with us.
Activities that we could call climate actions, including mambo ya waste management na mambo ya greening the city. Climate change has a lot of money. If you look at it from a wider perspective, that we must ensure by the year 2030 we have about $15 billion this planet all over the country.
Been empowered by seeing how young people here are inspirational. You have some amazing activists within the community. You put the world to shame.
Hello, na crime haibagui. Endelea kunirushia mawe ivatolu koholi. Hata ngozi yangu nitamwaga damu nyekundu.
Happy when we hear that the ACC shares with us that the crime rate in Nairobi South B has reduced, courtesy of our joint programs with other youth groups.
Technology, science, innovation, ICT and research. These are the ingredients upon which the solutions to the 21st century problems are founded. In a world that is rapidly changing, it's all hands on deck to ensure a balance in all fields of life. Women, young and old, are also in the front line, breaking the glass ceiling, becoming thought leaders in the larger tech space. Not forgetting other societies marginalized. And when the tech Avengers come together, we inch closer to a much safer, efficient, and sustainable world. What we view as a norm in today's advanced world was just an idea, and for nostalgic reasons, we trace back to the iconic days to bring you the retro tech. On Tech Innovation Show, we encapsulate all the pillars of the fourth industrial revolution, decoded in a language, all for one for all. Every Monday at 8:30 as we push the mantra, keep learning something new each and every day. Only on KUTV, a new experience.
Kutoka kuwa jamii ya kuhamahama na sasa kujumuisha kilimo katika mitindo yao ya maisha. Kwenye toleo la kaunti ya Narok, hii ni Boresha Kilimo, kwani afya bora ni kilimo bora. Kwani kilimo ndicho huboresha maisha.
Lola is an app that gives you a chance to watch videos, listen to audios, and read articles wherever you are for free. Motivational stories, dramas, campus life, technology, lifestyle, adventure, sports, academics, jobs, entertainment, and more. Download Lola now on Play Store. All you need, you got Lola.
Are you an aspiring media practitioner, a graduate, or you just want to advance your skills in television production? Then welcome to Kenyatta University, where education meets innovation. KUTV, the premier university television station in Kenya, is now offering short courses in TV studio, field technical operations, and video editing. Through these courses, you will acquire hands-on skills on camera operations, media production, lighting techniques, audiovisual editing, and sound and visual control, and how to operate key equipment in modern TV control room. Enroll today at KUTV and discover your full potential in cutting-edge TV broadcasting. Graduates of these courses will receive professional certificates. For more information, visit our offices at KUTV Studios or call us on 020-870-4252 or 020-870-4255 or SMS us on 0739-110-544. KUTV, a new experience.
First time?
Yeah, I'm kind of scared, but I can do this.
Yeah.
Mess with me. Yeah, let's do this, man.
exciting
thrilling adventures across the African continent.
See breathtaking wildlife, stunning landscapes,
And out of this world technologies.
meet incredible scientists,
And learn fantastic facts.
explore, discover, be amazed.
Part of the next generation of African change makers.
Be a part of Engine, Africa's #1 science discovery program. Yay!
We're learning every day. And you lead the way.
All right, welcome back to the broadcast. You're watching KTV Primetime News, and it's time for our discussion of the night. Remember, today is Tuesday. We're talking matter state of the nation. Like I had hinted earlier before we started the broadcast, today marks 1 year since President William Ruto was voted in as the 5th president of Kenya. And tonight I'm joined by Rachel Tabitha, that is the youth leader from the opposition, Azimio and Kenya Coalition, and Angendo Mirugu, that is a communication strategist who want to talk about the state of the nation, everything politics, and the government's basically 1 year since election. Welcome to our studios, ladies.
Thank you.
You look amazing. So, I've just said, how do you view the past year? Not literally the past year, but the government is 11 months in. How do you view the past year in President Ruto's leadership? I'll start with Tabitha.
I was trying to share something very urgent. So I'd request you to repeat the question kindly.
All right.
Yeah.
The government, we are now in the 11th month since President Ruto was elected to be the president, of course. So how do you view his leadership this far?
From unbiased. Okay, first of all, thank you so much for having me here today. I'm grateful for this opportunity. And as a youth in opposition, I might sound biased, but from my point of view and as a youth leader, I can rate him 2 out of 10.
Why 2 out of 10?
When it comes to performance, because if things were really right, we would not find people protesting. Even when the opposition calls for protests, we would find at least, let's say, like a third, or like a third is a big number, a quarter of the people showing up. So the people, first of all, showing up for protests, it shows that they are not yet satisfied with the government. And also the president himself is complaining that even the CS that he has are not up to task. So, and then the cost of living, everything is not yet in order. So as a youth and as a Kenyan, I feel he hasn't yet met the expectations.
All right, Murugu, I want to know from your point of view now, how would you assess the government's communication during this time here that they have been in leadership? Have they effectively now addressed the issues that Kenyans are facing?
I think we need to appreciate the fact that President William Ruto came into power at a time where we were in an economic crisis. Much of which was not really felt by Kenyans because President Uhuru during that time had subsidized close to everything, starting with unga, with fuel and what have you. But our expenditure was skyrocketing, and our debt, we were using 75% of our GDP to finance the debts that we already have. So I feel President William Ruto is really up to the task. He's proven himself amidst all odds. When he took power, I remember I was 10 in Azimio.
Why did he change?
When the government comes into power and you realize you're somewhere that you'll be for the next 10 years, I can assure you President William Ruto is going to be in power for the next 10 years.
Oh, really?
Yes, and you wouldn't want to be out of government, opposing the government. and patriotism. When the president wins, we all win. Now back to your question. You asked how I see him.
Yeah.
He has really performed, given the circumstances he took over power. When the president came in, he was being pressurized by us then in Azimio and other people to continue with the subsidies with unga and fuel and what have you. But he stood his ground. He said, no, I'm not going to subsidize consumption. I'm going to subsidize production. He then brought in the issue of the subsidized fertilizer, which was largely opposed because then we had faced the worst drought that people were really not sure about what will happen even with the subsidized fertilizer. So when he subsidized the fertilizer, he took also prayer rallies throughout the nation, where he was praying for the rains, asking people and intercessory groups from churches or religious leaders to kindly and humbly ask for, intervention for the rains. Sure enough, the subsidized fertilizer, the prayers for the rain. Kenya is a very religious country. We're now witnessing a bumper harvest.
Do you believe the prayers brought rain?
Of course, yes. They did.
Wonderful.
Yes, the meteorological department didn't foresee any rain. But now with the intervention, the religious leaders' interventions, Muslims, the Christians and what have you, we are witnessing pregnant fields. Yeah.
All right, now still on you, Murugu, given the ongoing, and not necessarily the ongoing, but the protests that we saw in the country for the better part of this year, starting March, what messaging strategies do you think that maybe would resonate with the public as opposed to now the protests?
I think, as you saw in the highly contested 2022 elections, the opposition, which I was part of, had high numbers. And Kenyans, the president promised lots of things that he came to realize weren't possible immediately he took office. And since people who voted him in thought within the first 100 days, price of unga would be down and what have you. But the situation, how he found the coffers, the government coffers, it wouldn't facilitate for such. So Kenyans were a little bit disappointed. And that's why, as my friend here said, when Baba called for those demonstrations, majority of Kenyans showed up. Because still, we haven't fully addressed the issue of unemployment. We haven't fully addressed now the high cost of living. We are in the process. It's baby steps. The president was voted in to work for Kenyans in 5 years, not in 5 months. So we can't start giving him ultimatums. We can't start pushing him and pressurizing him. He has to put in place his house in good order. As she said, some of the CSAs are not working. But you can see with, for example, the interior docket. The guns have been silenced in the north. You can see now previously, in June, the government launched the Gava Mkononi, where you can access all the government services at the comfort of your house, at the comfort of your smartphone. Even if you don't have a smartphone, you can use your Kadunde phone by dialing *222 hash. You get now the any services that you want to apply for.
Yeah.
The government has streamlined also issues to do with corruption. You've seen the president collapsed every other pay bill that was payable for government services. Now everything can be checked end to end. Whatever payment you make, may be it for birth certificate, application of whatever, it's to one government pay bill number. So anyone who wanted now to fleece money from the government from whichever end, through whichever pay bill, cannot be able to.
Tabitha, Murugu is saying the president was elected to serve Kenyans in 5 years and not 5 months. You're in the streets protesting to have the cost of living brought down. Do you agree?
I don't agree, because the same president said, immediately I put down the Bible. In the next 100 days, I'm going to put things in order. So that's 3 months. So why does he need actually years to do what he promised to do in 100 days? Everything is not in order, even the security. It's not in order. The same services for a citizen that is going to bring to the Kenyans. Just last month, we had the whole thing, the system hacked. So we have loopholes.
An attempted hack that never went through.
It went through because we spent like 8 hours without accessing the services, the e-citizen. So it was successful.
No, it wasn't. from a point of information, the government, yes, they gave out their press releases in regards to the attempted hack. That never went through. The government has put in place measures to ensure that Kenyan data does not leak to people who are not authorized to do so, to handle data, private information about in regards to Kenyans.
Yeah.
We all agree that the e-citizen holds vital information in regards to each and every citizen. A child who was born yesterday and has been issued with a notification card, a birth notification, it's already in the e-citizen. So why would the government leave it in the hands of people who can be able to access it without permission? It would never went through. The CS ICT, the CS Interior has made that clear.
Tabitha is confident that it did. Do you have proof, maybe, Tabitha?
Yes, because we still have the text messages on our phones that, hey, dear customer from DTB, from wherever, from what, you cannot access services. Please be patient until we work on this. So can you convince the citizens that that was not like a real hacking, you know? Let's not sugarcoat things. Because we are the citizens of this country and we see things happening. So if we try to sugarcoat it, we make it worse.
I think the past few years, each and every one of us has, in one time or another, received a text message from a supposed bank. Some people who want to fleece money from your account, people who say, I'm from Equity Bank, I'm from this and this bank. So you can't really quantify the information that you're sending right now, saying did the hackers hack the government servers, or did they hack the banks? Kindly, when you want to demonize the government, do so with some proof.
But you're so biased about it, so can we be realistic? I'm in opposition, and I'm in opposition, and you've actually defected from opposition.
I defected long ago.
Yes, and then you said that you had to defect because you have to be 10 years in the government because Ruto gonna stay. First of all,
actually, it's patriotism, as I said,
and also democracy. You're hurting the democracy of this country because as a citizen, when you are also even a youth, you are even a youth, as I can look at you. So when your side fails, when your ship sinks, do not try to look for the ship that is still floating. Can you work on the ship that is sinking because you belong there and see how you can champion for the good of this sinking ship? Because with the democracy, we need to have opposition that should keep the government on check. So if all of us run away and go to the government, who will keep the government on check? We need the opposition. And these youth are running away from the opposition. They need to reason beyond just running away to fit in the government.
I need to say something.
I want to ask you a question regarding her point that she has mentioned. If the youth are now running away from the government, from the opposition, who is going to keep the government in check?
Let me elaborate something. There's a lot. She recently joined Azimio. I've been in Azimio for long. We've supported the government. The Azimio ODM, I'm an ODM member to date. To date.
You've not resigned?
Yes, I've not resigned for my reasons.
Yeah, sure.
Now, the thing is, there's a lot of disorganization in Azimio Esat now. As you can see, the Azimio team, which is now the opposition, should be playing an oversight role. But are they? When the president was about to release the CS's names, late last year, literally 90% of these people in Azimio were quiet about literally everything the government was doing. Why? They expected some of the names floated by the opposition leader to appear in the CS's position. When the names were released, they went back to the mode to now unrealistically and reasonably oppose the government. Now, when the CAS's positions were about to be announced, the nominees, do you know what happened? They were all supporting the government. Until now, the president rewarded his loyalists, and then they went into the mode, opposed the government.
Azimio has never supported the government. First of all, your president, who is the president of yourself and the country that you believe in, violates the constitution of Kenya.
What I'm getting from you, Tabitha, you're saying Tabitha is the president, and the president that she believes in. Do you still agree in the statement that Azimio made in its first days of the protest, that they do not recognize the government as legitimate? You'll tell me that when we come back from this break.
We do not recognize it.
Are Are you an aspiring media practitioner, a graduate, or you just want to advance your skills in television production? Then welcome to Kenyatta University, where education meets innovation. KUTV, the premier university television station in Kenya, is now offering short courses in TV studio, field technical operations, and video editing. Through these courses, you will acquire hands-on skills on camera operations, media production, lighting techniques, audiovisual editing, and sound and visual control, and how to operate key equipment in modern TV control room. Enroll today at KUTV and discover your full potential in cutting-edge TV broadcasting. Graduates of these courses will receive professional certificates. For more information, visit our offices at KUTV Studios or call us on 020-870-4252 or 020-870-4255 or SMS us on 0739-110-544. KUTV, a new experience.
First time?
Yeah, I'm kind of scared, but I can do this.
Yeah.
Mess with me. Yeah, let's do this, man.
Adventures across the African continent. See breathtaking wildlife, stunning landscapes, and out of this world technologies. Meet incredible scientists and learn fantastic facts. Explore, discover, be amazed. Part of the next generation of African change makers. Be a part of Engine, Africa's #1 science discovery program. Yay!
We're learning every day. Engine leads the way.
All right, welcome back to the broadcast. We are talking about the state of the nation with Rachel Tabitha and Ngendo Murugu. And before we went on this short break, I had posed a question to Tabitha, and she mentioned something about Murugu's president and other people's president. Why do you say that now that we are 11 months in?
As I told you earlier, that from unbiased point of view, even though I'm in opposition, we cannot recognize the president at this moment, and he knows that the government is still illegitimate to us, the majority of us, because until they open the servers, for us to know the truth who really won the election, we will maintain our stand that we do not have a government that is legitimate at the moment.
How do they open these servers exactly? Because we have had this push and pull since March or September last year. How do you want these servers to be opened exactly?
If we try to take the political history from 2007, where we had liberal protests, the issue was still elections, like the electoral rigging. We're still experiencing the same issue. That's why I believe every system that has a an issue that is of human interest, especially the votes that were casted by the human, the Kenyans. We should also get the access. So we believe there is a server that needs to be opened. Why can't they open? Because if there is a server, it means it can be accessed. So why do they say that they don't have the keys to the server? Because they know there is a server.
Murugu, what do you think now that you defected from Azimio? They want the servers open. What do you think?
I don't know how to answer her because for decades, Baba has managed to hypnotize people, including myself. I was part of it. And I'm saying my friend is still hypnotized. And I apologize to myself and to people who believed in me for me now falling into the tricks and traps of my party leader. Now, what people need to know is that immediately Uhuru won his second term, he shook hands with Baba. Baba had raised the issue of the servers prior from 2007, 2013, 2017. Immediately he shook hands and he got whatever benefits he got from the government. Baba forgot there were servers. Baba forgot that there were issues that needed to be looked into to ensure that 2022 there were no issues that would arise, matters servers, matters IEBC. He forgot the reforms that he was previously advocating for.
How sure are you that he forgot? Because first of all, you saying he's still your party
Kindly
leader.
give me time. I don't interrupt when you're talking.
But you interrupted already, so you've introduced the habit of interrupting, you know? Can you talk from the point of like confidence, you know? Because you saying he's still your party leader and you've already defected to the KK. So while talking about Baba, you have some decorum. Thank you.
Let me remind my friend here. The servers that needed to be opened were opened during the petition that was brought up at the Supreme Court. The Azimio team, which was part of 10, got access the much they could into the servers. By the way, what are these servers? They're the ones who went and saw them, the lawyers who are representing Azimio. They saw whatever extent they were allowed to see. You know, I don't understand.
Were they allowed to see what they wanted to see?
Yes, during the Supreme Court.
Tabitha?
No. If they allowed,
They're protesting because of that? I understand.
Because of
I think if you allowed me to finish the point I was on.
Okay.
The thing is, the President of the Republic of Kenya is none other than William Samoei Ruto. He was overwhelmingly voted for by Kenyans 1 year ago today. Now, the President, the biggest server that spoke on that day were the votes that he got from Kenyans. The reception that the President gets from Kenyans who are of goodwill is enough to talk depths. There is nobody who has, including Baba himself. Tomorrow, the President will be officially launching the 10-year devolution celebration. Baba will be a guest speaker. Whoever will be opening is the President of the Republic of Kenya, William Samoei Ruto.
And Baba is the father of devolution.
That's right. Okay, all right. Now, I want you to...
He's actually riding on Baba's limelight and the achievements. So
Tabitha, I want you to, among other things that you're protesting about, aside from now the servers, is the reconstitution of IEBC. We are 11 months in, right? Now, could you elaborate the reasons behind your need to have this reconstitution of IEBC and what better ways, what can be done better to ensure that in the next elections, 2027, we don't have protests as we're experiencing right now?
Oh, first of all, for us to make sure maybe we don't experience protest is by advocating for the policies that will ensure that it's of good of the Kenyans, and reconstituting the IBC is one of them, because people have already lost the confidence that they had with IBC. You know, we have to give people the option to experience their democracy, to know the kind of people that they're gonna cast their voice to, the kind of people that gonna manage the elections moving forward. Because with the IBC that we have, with the kind of president that we have right now, we cannot trust the whatever and the IBC. And we had already voter apathy of the youth and the young people.
Can't we trust the IEBC because President William Ruto is the president?
We cannot trust the IBC because of the manipulation that was witnessed with the IBC.
We've seen Honorable Raila doing a contest for these presidential seats in other years, and we've seen him reject the election. So I think for you to say that it's only this year, it really holds no.
Rachel is a newcomer. Rachel is a newcomer.
But
Let's wait for him to
but
finish his
also
halfway.
there must be a newcomer in politics
Yeah.
because I'm young and I'm just a coming leader. And for me to be there tomorrow as a leader, I have to start today. So I have to be a newcomer today.
Yeah.
But I'm well versed with the politics of this country. I'm a reader of history. When I'm speaking, when I'm confident, it's because I know what is going on. You can also be old in politics, but you have no content, you have no information, the kind of people you hang around. That's why they are moving from Azimio to Kenya Kwanza. But you can be new, fresh into politics, but the kind of information you're getting, the kind of people that you're interacting with, and the kind of knowledge, you are like an old person. Being old is not actually the measure of wisdom. I'm not about my friend. I'm just saying, you know, in general. So with Baba's been rejecting anyways, and if he was not winning the election, you know, when he calls for demonstrations, we would see nobody coming out. We cannot ignore the fact that he is very influential, and those people translate into votes. But again, they rig. But because Baba is a believer of democracy, he says, I'm not gonna rig an election to be the president. And if I must rig election to be a president, let me not be a president. Let them rig. But this time round, we are saying enough is enough.
Murugu.
Yes.
Now we have a few minutes left, but I want you now to tell us as a communication strategist what messaging method could be used now to assure Kenyans of the fairness of future elections.
To be honest, the opposition is loud enough. It's loud enough because it resonates with many people who don't have the know-how of how the government operates. People who are not interested in knowing the going-ons of the day-to-day government, daily, activities. From how she's speaking from a psychophancy point of view. And once you put an equilibrium from her being in opposition to her being a Kenyan, number one, she was not a contestant in the recently concluded polls. She was a mere supporter. Though there is no single.
Why you not a supporter?
She was not a presidential contestant. She can,
you
however,
were not either.
Yes, I was not either. So nobody other than the ones who feel disappointed by the elections can refer to the president as illegitimate.
The president, the opposition,
the oversight of the government demands respect. You don't just because the party leader is walking up and down. They're friends, by the way. President William Samoei Ruto and Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, they're friends. We have seen them on numerous occasions after the polls, shaking hands, sharing some niceties. And you want to tell me whenever Baba goes to speak, he doesn't recognize Ruto as the president?
You can shake
tomorrow, the president will be, and I will continue to insist this, the president, as the president, the duly elected president of the Republic of Kenya, will be opening the devolution conference.
That's right.
As the president.
Devolution that Baba really fought for and advocated for.
Now that we are really into devolution now, I want to hear from you as a youth leader, Tabitha. How has devolution impacted the youth now in terms of employment, education, and this political space that now you're in?
First of all, I have to acknowledge that it was really a nice initiative because it has enabled the finances, because money is everything when it comes to running the government and the everything. So devolution has enabled the opportunities to get into mashinani through the county government to the youth. Devolution has enabled us to have more positions for the young people. Devolution has enabled the county government to be able to be in touch with the youth. So I feel it's a success so far. Although, even though we are not still, we are not where we want to be, but it's really a plus for this country because the young people can access the opportunities through, without having to struggle to reach the national government.
Right, Murugu, 10 years in, how do you rate the state of devolution in 1 minute?
Previously, I've worked under His Excellency Governor William Kabogo, and I saw that devolution can work during his time. During his time, there were medication in all government hospitals within Kiambu. He started the feeding programs within Kiambu County. He started many things that, you see, many projects that he started then stalled. Many projects that were started by previous governments stalled. Devolution will work if the governments that we elect successively, they take up the projects that were initiated by their predecessors, such that we don't, like for example in Kiambu County, there was an amphitheater that was started by, it is half constructed by William Kabogo. To date, it still stands at the place where he left it. Because now the incoming government wants to start its own projects that will be affiliated to them, and instead of now finishing the projects that were started by the predecessor. President William Samoei Ruto is bringing up a tradition that is worth embracing by each and every person, each and every government, elected government official. He has started with finalizing projects that were initiated by his predecessor. You'll see the Azimio people talking about him launching projects that were started by the president. In government, there is no vacuum. I think we operate in perpetual succession.
But why are we praising a president for what he's supposed to do? He was elected to serve the Kenyans.
I think we will stop at that, Tabi. We will continue to have this conversation. Of course, time is up. My director is telling me time is up. But we will bring you back to have this conversation about the state of the nation and to hear your insights about what you think about the government, of course. Thank you so much for making time for us tonight.
Thank you.
All right, that is Tabitha, Rachel, and Murugu Ngendo. I beg your pardon. We were having a conversation about the state of the nation, and we are taking a very short break at this point. All right, the director is telling me we are done with the broadcast. Many thanks indeed for keeping us company. Be sure to stay tuned for subsequent bulletins. Of course, tomorrow you'll be joined by Joseph Cass and Dennis Omondi for Mrs. Yahabari and Primetime News. My name is Anne ODIDA. I'm in the company of Evans of Yam. I'm being told that he left already. But be sure to join me again next week, inshallah. Have a